Hello there. The UK economy is facing the longest, if not the deepest, recession since modern macroeconomic statistics began around 100 years ago. The Bank of England forecasts gross domestic product or GDP to shrink steadily for 2 years from mid 2022 to mid 2024. The central bank warned of this when it raised the key interest rates to 3% last week to combat inflation. A 2 year recession would be longer than previously feared, and the main reasons being the rapid increase in energy prices and inflation, to which the Bank of England has now reacted with 8 interest rate hikes. According to the central bank, the British economy has been in recession since the summer. And the British Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the BCC, lamented an alarming deterioration in economic sentiment and conditions over the weekend, with key indicators falling back to COVID crisis levels. The Bank of England predicts a GDP drop of 1.9% for 2023 and another slight contraction GDP of 0.1% on average in 2024. In the eighth quarter of the recession, the economy will have shrunk by 2.9% overall, according to the forecast. This means that the slump is half as severe as during the financial and banking crisis 14 years ago. The Bank of England expects the economy to recover only gradually after mid-2024. The British Central Bank braced itself against escalating inflation with the largest rate hike in decades. It increased, as I said, the key monetary policy rate by 0.75 points to 3%, and it was the Bank of England's biggest hike since 1989, and it was in the middle of a looming recession. If we don't act consistently now, it will get worse later. That's what BOE boss Andrew Bailey said when he defended the decision. The higher interest rates make loans for investments and consumption more expensive, which can also slow down the economy. The economic trend has recently pointed clearly downwards. In September alone, when Queen Elizabeth's funeral was marked with a one-off public holiday, when many businesses were closed, the British economy shrank by 0.6%. The weak economic outlook provides a difficult backdrop to Treasury Secretary Hunt's budget statement this week. In response to the data, he reiterated his warnings against tough tax and spending decisions to restore Britain's public finances and government's credibility on economic policy after Liz Truss's short tenure as Prime Minister. And Chancellor of the Exchequer Hunt spoke of very difficult times. The economy experienced a double toxic shock in quick succession, first the corona slump and then the effects of the Ukraine war. And he forgot Brexit, by the way. He described inflation, which has soared to more than 10%, as the enemy weighing heavily on families, pensioners, and businesses. Hunt is currently faced with the difficult task of filling a hole of up to 50 to 60 billion pounds in his budget. This will also happen through tax increases, and according to media reports, not only a higher tax on special profits of the energy companies as planned, so the windfall tax, but an expanded taxation of dividends. This would then also affect private households. Some sectors fear a particularly deep slump in the looming recession. The Hospitality and Hotel Association UK Hospitality has already warned that a third of pubs, restaurants and hotels could face bankruptcy next year. In a survey, 35% of the member companies answered that they were making a loss or that their survival was questionable. The rapidly increasing energy costs and costs for other goods, as well as the declining consumer confidence, are extremely painful for the sector, warns the catering industry. The construction industry also has deep concerns, expecting a slump in the real estate market and in new construction activity due to rising interest rates. The CPA Association expects the output of the construction industry to fall by around 4% next year. Noble Francis, the chief economist of the Construction Industry Association, sees this on the way to a clear recession. But one should not forget that construction activity is currently at an all-time high, he adds. However, the costs are currently increasing by double-digit percentages, which is hitting the industry hard. Observers are now expecting a significant correction for the real estate market after prices had risen sharply for years, including during the Corona period. The Lloyds Banking Group, which also owns Bank Halifax, which is very active in the mortgage business, predicts that prices will fall by 8% next year and then stagnate for several years. So far, the unemployment statistics have looked comparatively good. Currently, only 3.5% of the island's labor force is unemployed. This is the lowest level since the mid 1970s. And according to the Bank of England, the unemployment rate will rise to 6.5% during the recession. But it is so low also because of Brexit, because many people have left the country and are not coming back. And I'll see you in my next video. I'll be back.